these things want, and why are they here?
You still don't get it, do you, boy?
They have recruited the rich and the powerful.
They're running the whole show.
Wake up! They're all about you, all around you. Blinded us to the truth.
Take a look.
They are safe as long as they are not discovered.
I don't know what they are or where they came from, but we gotta stop them. Stay away from me. Put these on. They have us. Look at them. They're everywhere. Our owners.
We have no other choice.
I don't like this one bit.
Leave it alone, man. It ain't none of my business, ain't none of yours.
We have been lulled into a trance.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. We're in trouble. The whole world's in trouble. Control us! You're sending some kind of signals out of TV sets.
I've got one that can see.
Mama don't like tattletale. Now we start spilling some blood. Let's go!
Push a button.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hi, welcome to Movie Humpers. My name is Bob Sham.
My name is Angela.
This sounds your maybe dogs.
I did a very NPR. My name is Angela.
Hello.
Hello.
My tone of voice should be what the new standard of NPR is. I'm so sick of those little... Look, I'm not really like one of these ultra masculine influencers, you know? But every once in a while it is like, deepen it up a little bit, NPR. All right?
I might listen more or ever.
Come on.
If everyone sounds
What's
like
wrong
you.
with a nice deep baritone like this? Is that the right instrument? Anyway, it's Halloween Humpfest. That means every weekday, all month long, a horror movie discussion. A lot of hybrids in our horror movie discussions. Some thriller, adventure horror, thriller, psychological horror. This one, what we're discussing today, is in line with our John Carpenteuesday selection. Every Tuesday we talk about a John Carpenter movie. And this one is like a cross between his horror
sci-fi
and like Escape from New York or something. Like because John has some action and he has some horror, and this is a perfect combination of both. And it is really weird. Out of all the John Carpenter movies that we're finally getting to, that I'm just now watching this one. This is a huge cult favorite. Critics were very up and down on it when it came out. I don't think a lot of the reviews were very high. But over time, the influence of this movie has really... It is a true cult success movie, if there ever was one.
This is the perfect independent movie theater midnight movie.
That's the way it feels. And there's something... The simplicity of it is so interesting. But also it's... I mean, he made this in the wake of Reaganism and stuff. That's his commentary at the time. And the commentary of class and the late stages of a consumer-based economy, the troubles here. It feels as far as the politics of the movie, it feels as relevant as it ever does.
Absolutely.
And then, but on top of that, you got cool action shit with Roddy Piper. Yes, the wrestler, Roddy Piper, which is another... aspect of it that makes it weird that I haven't seen it, because I like wrestling and I like Roddy Piper. Mm-hmm. I have like a figure of him up there. And how have I never watched this movie until this month? We're talking about the movie They Live from 1988, directed by John Carpenter, written by John Carpenter and Ray Nelson. It's based on a short story by Ray Nelson called 8 o'clock in the morning. And it stars Roddy Piper, Keith David, who's my favorite in the movie, Meg Foster, Raymond St. Jacques, George Buck Flowers, cinematography by Gary Brian Kibbe, who did a few of Carpenter's movies.
It's sad, but the reason it feels so relevant is because
everything
we can't
sucks.
Everything sucks. Like, we cannot ever, no matter how progressive we think things may be in certain areas, or times have changed, there's always classism. There's always people who are in charge and people who are expected to just put your head down and do your job.
I think the general changes only exist amongst the society themselves, that they learn to accept over time certain things. And we maybe give a little too much attention to people who are trying to be a little reactionary, who claim that things are better another time. But if anything positive truly does change, it's because of the people setting those boundaries themselves culturally or going forward. It really has nothing to do with the people in power and what they're doing. If they're reacting to anything, what they were maybe once against socially and now support, is only because the society has set those boundaries for them, because otherwise they don't really do anything. They just react to us or find us to be very inconvenient.
Yeah, and then they take whatever that thing is and somehow take control of it or capitalize it or act like it was their idea.
They Suck, and in They Live, it stars, Roddy Piper. Well, I think what's interesting, Roddy Piper plays Nada, though I don't think anyone ever says his name. Do they?
No, not once, nada.
And he's a drifter that rolls into where I think it's Los Angeles, but it all seems to take place in like this 4-block radius, like this whole dire situation.
Well, and the only city I recall anyone ever mentioning is Keith David says he came from Detroit. Plants were closing in Detroit.
Yeah, which that's definitely a relevant issue of the time when this movie came out.
Absolutely.
Roddy Piper, you figure he would actually be quite good if you know his career as a wrestler, that he would be quite good as an actor, but his character of Nada, while he does have some great one-liners, is a pretty quiet character compared to Roddy Piper himself.
Bring the camera this way. I got a full bottle of beer here, Buddy Rose. You want some nightmares, Buddy Rose? You just check this out, brother. Buddy Rose! I heard it on the radio. It said, "Showdown, you bet." And I ain't even saddled my pony yet, brother.
You just go online, look up Roddy Piper promos, and the guy is like a maniac. And sure, he's putting it on a lot for the gig, for the entertainment, but he really wasn't far from that being like that, period. And he's very hyper when he's up in his wrestling business doing his promos. But in this movie, Nada, his character, is actually quite restrained.
What struck me was in those quiet moments in the first half of this movie, he's great.
Yeah.
He does such a wonderful job. When it became a little ridiculous was when he started delivering those one-liners, because yes, they are great one-liners, but they feel tacked on or...
You could tell the difference between him and an officially trained actor, but I think John used him just enough, guided him just enough. And this is a pretty big year for Roddy Piper. Another movie that he was in that came out this year was a movie called Hell Comes to Frogtown.
What?
And he's in that movie.
I have heard of that.
And that's a big cult hit too. People also love that one. So 88 was a huge year for Roddy Piper. Hulk Hogan never came close to making a movie this good.
No.
The Rock, he made a lot of money, but I don't think he's made anything as compelling as They Live.
I can't think of anything as compelling as that. Black Adam.
Whether it be being a lead in this movie or just a wrestling personality, I love fucking Roddy Piper. I love fucking him. Rest in peace. Born in Canada, came up in the Portland, Northwest area.
He plays an everyman in this movie. The character of Nada.
If the everyman was jacked.
If the everyman was jacked. If the everyman could take care of himself.
He's no worse than the other 80s action stars. Dolph Lundgren. I think Roddy deserved even more than he got.
Embodies this down on his luck, but still extremely hopeful.
Yeah, he's an
person.
He's an optimistic guy, and he's also a guy that does what's right, but he's not afraid to punch a motherfucker in the face or take a fully automatic weapon to someone if he understands that they are evil.
He also doesn't seem to know when he should maybe keep his mouth shut. Once he figures out what's going on, he just straight up tells people to their faces.
So he rolls up to, there's like this community tent community, like pretty much like a homeless community, because a lot of people are out of work and they're looking for work and they're getting gigs here and there.
Keith David brings him there because he got day work at a construction site.
Right. He goes into the construction site and he's asked for a job.
Excuse me. You need anybody?
Maybe.
I got mowing tools.
This is a union job.
Yeah, this is a union job. And then he looks over to a bunch of migrant workers who are definitely not union. Maybe we can put in a call to some reps or something. And then he manages to get the gig. So he's just digging, and yeah, he's working with Keith David. And Keith David, I love Roddy Piper in this, but I think Keith David is the best character in this movie.
The golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. They close one more factory, we should take a sledge to one of their fancy fucking foreign cars.
You know, you ought to have a little more patience with life.
Yeah, well, I'm all out.
He does most of the talking. He's more of the trained actor. I like to see Keith David in things anyway. He will pop up in these Carpenter movies, most infamously in The Thing at the end opposite Kurt Russell, which is probably his best role.
Good.
And this one is really up there. I really love Keith David in this.
They're in this tent community, and there's a lot of people there, and they're very welcoming and giving. They feed everybody. There's also folks who come in and give them things. And it's right across the street from this church as well, where there's this blind preacher who he hears speaking earlier in the day. Some of the men have rigged up a television to watch out in the center of this community, and they're watching television, and all of a sudden this feed cuts in, and it's this man talking about
The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance.
they're watching you.
They call him the hacker. Yeah, this guy's like, they're watching you. They've been controlling us for a long time. Roddy, he notices a lot of strange things going on at the church.
Uh-huh.
He notices that, you know, there's people that are going in and out of it at all hours of the night. It's like give and go, but eventually he does go into the church and he opens up some wall and he finds a box with sunglasses in it.
Also, they constantly play really loud choir music to make people think there are people in there singing, but it is a recording. I loved that little piece of it. Also, they're being so secretive, but they didn't lock their door. Whatever, but it just a little silly. But he did get in there, you're right. He found these glasses. He doesn't know what they're for. He sees like a lab. I thought it was going to be drugs for a second.
Yeah.
Like pills. Like you take this pill or something.
It's a bit of a misdirect. You figure he's uncovering some vile conspiracy, but these guys actually are part of a resistance because they know what's going on. But he takes the glasses and he goes out in public. And when he puts the glasses on, like the fronts of newspapers and billboards and everything, it turns into like this 1984 kind of shit where it'll be like a book like the Edgar Cayce readings, and it'll be like, do not question authority.
Billboards say, obey.
And as we're leading up to this moment, we see graffiti that kind of gives us a warning. They live, we sleep, stuff like that.
Also, he has to figure this out on his own because there's no one left to show him. He doesn't take the glasses initially. The church gets burnt up and everyone scatters, and certain people are getting beat up, certain people are getting arrested. He gets separated from everyone and he sneaks back into the church and takes the one box of glasses.
So he's out on the streets and he's putting on the glasses, and not only does he see that the glasses reveal the subliminal messaging in the billboards, the signs, the restaurant shops.
Everywhere.
And then he sees that certain people are these weird skull-looking alien freaks.
What's your problem? I said, what's your problem?
And he also sees everything in black and white as well. And a lot of this obey, like he sees obey all over the place. I've seen the obey tags that has that face on it.
Yep.
That face is actually Andre the Giant's face. Mm-hmm. And they stuck All that shit was inspired by this movie. And of course they use a different wrestler's face for the image that you always see on there. It very influential to like street art and shit like that, this movie.
Yeah.
So he starts to freak the fuck out, and they realize that he can see them.
Because that's what I was talking about earlier. He straight up looks at them and goes,
You look like your head fell on the cheese dip back in 1957. You're okay. This one, real fucking ugly. You see, I take these glasses off. She looks like a regular person, doesn't she, huh? Put them back on, formaldehyde face. That's what we got.
That's enough out of you. You get out or I call the cops.
Call the cops? You know what you need? You need a Brazilian plastic surgeon.
and they have all these watches. And they start talking to each other and saying, like, there's one who can see.
We see one guy even teleport, and he's like punching cops that he sees that are aliens.
I love that because they don't show us how that happens. Later, we find out that when they push a button on the watch, a portal opens in the ground and they go through it.
Yeah.
But at the first, I just thought they disappeared.
Yeah, it's like portal technology.
Mm-hmm.
So he's on the run.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum. Oh, shit.
He takes a lady hostage.
Because he needs a car to get away.
He takes her hostage. She takes him to her apartment.
Cops are chasing him.
And you think this is going to end up being something where they, like in the 80s, he kidnaps her, but he's really a good guy, so they're probably going to fuck on the couch.
They're sending some kind of signals on the TV sets.
No, she fucking arm drags his ass through her fucking balcony glass door, and he falls like 2-3 stories, just slams.
Rolling down the hill. Do you think he did it himself? He could.
I don't think he dropped like multiple stories, no.
Well, the rolling down the hill part.
Sure, he knows how to tumble, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the action we get later, I mean, a lot of wrestlers would have the instinct to do performative stuff like that. So that was just all natural for him. But he drops his glasses, so he makes his way back.
Yes.
And then he encounters Keith David. And, he goes back and he finds where he had left the box of glasses, and he pulls them out of a garbage truck. He has to jump on because he almost loses the box.
This is another moment, too, where he sneaks to the construction site, and he's hiding, and he's trying to get Keith David's attention, and Keith David is like, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. Like, he is like, don't tell me anything. And he's like, I want you to put on these glasses. I want you to just put on these glasses.
He basically chases him into an alley.
And this is a very infamous part of this movie because this is an insanely long fist fight between the two of them.
Even though you told me it was going to be long, I could not believe how long it was.
I had heard about this. It's so funny how Keith David plays off of him and how he's just does not want this shit.
Look, you crazy mother.
Put these on.
Hey! Stay away from me!
I'm telling you, you dumb son of a... I'm trying to save you and your family's life.
You couldn't even save your own!
I don't know how long it was, 15 minutes at least, this fist fight.
It felt like a full wrestling match.
And you think it's over, and then they do like backdrops on him and stuff.
No! Be in. You dirty motherfucker!
Like, there's just so much to it, and the fight looks also fan-fucking-tastic.
And they beat each other the fuck up. They are bleeding and bruised and swollen.
truly one of the best fist fights in a movie you could ever see. And then finally, they're just both beat the shit up, and he's just sticking the glasses onto Keith David's head. And then they go out, and Keith David sees someone walk down the street, and he sees their alien fucking face.
And he's shocked, of course. And the woman immediately says, "We have two that I think can see."
Yeah. So shit.
And they start running.
So they run, and they manage to meet back up with the people who are manufacturing the glasses.
They do, but first they rent an apartment together.
Oh, this is a sitcom.
And they, catch up with each other. It's long enough that they heal. And then they run into this guy who worked in the church on all this stuff. And he tells them, come to this address at this time tonight, and we're going to have a meeting. So they go to the meeting, and they give them contacts. When they walked up, the guy at the door didn't have sunglasses on. And I was like, how does he know? Right. He should be wearing fucking sunglasses. And then they go inside, and the woman says, you can put away your sunglasses now. Also, here's your contacts.
Here's contacts. Now so they leveled up.
And then no one will know that they're wearing, or if aliens or creatures or whatever had caught on.
So they're having this meeting where everyone's open about what's going on. Aliens are controlling everything, and that's why everything fucking sucks now.
And who's there?
KRDA is clear. The transmission is going out clean. The signal's coming from somewhere else.
The woman that he had kidnapped with the piercing blue eyes, who arm dragged him through a glass door, she shows up. And he instantly knows, like, she put on the glasses, so she knows.
They start talking more about the fact that the aliens are buying out humans as well. They're either using them or
getting them to sell out.
Yeah, or getting them to sell out. And they're giving them money, they're giving them jobs, they're getting them promotions, they're moving up in the world if they play the game.
And then suddenly the aliens show up. They were tipped off that this meeting was happening, and they kill pretty much 90% of the people in this room.
It's brutal.
And they managed to get a hold of one of the teleporting watches, and they open up a hole, and Roddy and Keith David go down into the hole, into this facility that connects to the news station that is broadcasting the signal that brainwashes everyone into conformity.
When they first walk in, they go into this big dinner where the humans who have helped the aliens are being recognized for their good works, and they're celebrating all the money they have. And then they see this guy who was in the tent city with them, who has sold out. And now he has a bunch of money and stuff. And he's like, oh, man, I didn't know you guys joined up.
How you doing, boys? I didn't know you'd been recruited. Welcome aboard.
Earth is our stepping stone for a
You know you boys really should have dressed for the party. Now you can afford it. I gotta tell you, I sure am proud to be here. You seen the whole place?
Let me give you a tour of the facilities, which is crazy. I thought it was a trick. One of the coolest things that they really don't spend any time explaining is they walk over near an area where there is another teleporting machine, and you step into it and you're just shot off into space, and you see space. They're theoretically under the ground, or the portal they dropped into. Who knows where they ended up? But like you said, they're also connected to the news station. The way this works, I would love to see a map.
The woman is there with the piercing eyes that he thought was on their side, but turned out she's not. She's a human that works with them. They go to destroy the antenna thing that transmits the signal. And in a really sad moment, she kills Keith David's character, Frank, which is a real bummer.
She and Roddy are on the roof.
Roddy kills her, and he destroys the transmitter.
Fuck it.
But he's mortally wounded, and when the signal breaks and the thing blows, he's given the middle finger. He sacrifices his life to lift the veil of obey off of people's eyes. So now the movie ends on everyone realizes that there are aliens among them, and now it's like the movie's left on what are they going to do about it.
They're watching television, and all of a sudden people look like these aliens on their television. They can see them. Their plan was to take over the world by 2025. We're not there yet.
Well, thank goodness Nada and Frank were there.
This
to put
is
a
true.
stop to these sick motherfuckers.
Now we don't have to be worried.
They Live from 1988. He came to chew gum and kick ass, but he was out of bubble gum. That's a very... I heard that line.
That's where it came from?
Yes. I heard that line so much. So.
I know. As soon as he said it, I was like, shit, I had no idea.
The cultural weight of this movie is so significant that there were things I knew were going to be coming before I even watched the movie.
It's amazing.
But yes, it is a fun-ass movie. They Live from 1988, directed by John Carpenter. Those fucking alien freaks have been found out. Thanks to two tough working men, Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Thank you. Thank you, Roddy Piper and Keith David.
Thank you. You're going to give it 1 through 5 each combined for best out of 10?
3.75.
I'm going to match that. All right, check it out. They Live by John Carpenter is a B+ at the top of the B's, listed in alphabetical order under The Idiots, but also above the 7.25 rated Antichrist by Lars von Trier. It's at least as good as those movies, if not better. The Fog, which we discussed last week, also got a 7.5. It sits just 2 rungs lower from The Fog. I don't even know what I'm saying some of the time here.
They're in the same category.
They're in the same why? It's alphabetized. It doesn't matter, the listing. Anyway, so there you go. They Live. We already know that the aliens control everything, so what are we going to do about it? They've passed laws that protect the aliens and the aliens alone. We can't do anything about it. So just give up. We can just watch John Carpenter movies for some semblance of hope. And McG movies. We can watch a few McG movies as well. Well, that does it for this episode. Tomorrow, a Hammer Horror Hump Day. We're talking about the movie Paranoiac. It's one of those, a psychological horror thriller. It's like a classic thrill. Classic thrillers are almost like old school horror in a way.
Another starring Oliver Reed.
More Oliver Reed, but now this time Janet Scott makes an appearance. The old British scream queen.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so check the show notes for links, other places to find us. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment. A lot of people fucking love this movie, so just go ahead and tell us how much you love the movie. I'm sure we missed some of your favorite spots, so just remind us. It's all right. We don't cover every little inch of everything. It's always good to leave some for people to go back and watch and revisit.
Absolutely.
And I have like fucking contention issues, so sometimes I forget shit.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, that is a big help, your presence here, to keep that shit straight.
Happy Halloween!